say first, we're really excited about tomorrow. The opportunity to play a doubleheader with the guys is one that we don't take lightly, and certainly being the opening act for the Davidson game, I think is pretty special. So we're looking forward to Niner Nation coming out. Our crowds have been really good at home this year, but certainly being in a doubleheader, you're going to attract some men's basketball fans that we hope will come out early and check out our team because I think they'll really like what they see. In terms of our team, we're making progress right now. Our trip to Puerto Rico was great in terms of, one, it gave our players an opportunity to experience a culture and be in a different place together, and I think that's really important. In terms of the basketball, I think it was good too. I mean, obviously we would have liked to win a couple more games, but I also think, it really helps us learn and grow. And, I talk about that all the time. We're not trying to be the best basketball team we can be today. We're trying to be the best basketball team we can be by March. And we're not there yet, but we took some great strides, particularly defensively. I really like how our team is defending right now. We're just really locked into our schemes. We have a lot of players that are stepping up and growing and getting better. And, when we were able to, even in the West Virginia game, when we were able to keep them in the half court, we did an outstanding job. For us right now, our biggest area of growth is our offense. I think that's still coming together. It's hard when you have 6 newcomers. Returners are playing different roles. We just don't have chemistry yet completely. There are moments where we look really good, and we're working together and we're doing really good things. But the consistency on the offensive end isn't there yet. And that is causing a lot of pressure on our defense to show up every single possession. So I think as we continue to grow on the offensive end, that will help, our defense, will help us become a more complete team. But we're not too far away. We just have to keep working and keep grinding.
Coach, early in the season, what would you say is the biggest surprise you've seen from your teams thus far?
Oh, that's a great question. I think what I have really liked is how well we have balanced our different defenses. Typically, I play a lot of man, but we have a couple different defenses this year, and we've gotten a lot out of them throughout most games. And I think, I don't know if surprise is the right word, but I've been really encouraged by our ability to go from man to a zone to a press and then back to a zone and really be on the same page. And I think that's helped us in a lot of our games, particularly if, offensively we're maybe not getting some of the shots that we want, being able to create some additional opportunities. And I think that adjustment that our team has made has been really good.
Coach, since I've been covering your program or your teams, you really pride yourself on defense. And so what's maybe clicking this year? Because at least at my vantage point, it seems to be playing probably the best it has early in the season than it ever has since I've been covering. So you just hold George Washington to a season low for them. So, what's really clicking?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think our returners are very experienced, right? Deja, JC, they've been doing this for a while, and I think they're playing at a really high level on the defensive end. But I also believe Kiana Rembert has grown tremendously. I mean, her defensive presence, she flies around, her effort, now that she understands, the schemes after being in for a year, her communication is just off the chart. Tracy Houston, I think, has been, when we've been able to keep her out of foul trouble, she's been really solid in the post for us. And then you combine that with our newcomers who really fit our style well. You have long, athletic kids and Joel Watkins and Amani Smith and Fatu and Nia Young is improving, Alicia Wade is improving. So I think everybody's kind of growing together and improving, but the new players, they have really fit in very quickly with our schemes, and they're doing a tremendous job.
Coach, I'll dovetail a little bit off the defensive side. Do you keep track of charges, and how many charges do you think Alicia Wade has taken?
We probably should keep track of them. No, we keep track of them in what we call our heart plays 212. And we talk about, one of the things we talk about in our program is, how we can have that extra degree. Some of y'all may have seen this analogy. It talks about, water when it's under heat, it's hot, but at 212 degrees, so from 211 degrees it's hot, from 212 degrees it's now boiling. And once it becomes boiling, you know, that steam can push a train. And so we talk about how we can have that 1 degree more, and we talk about what those plays are. Charges are one of those plays. So we keep track of those plays. Alicia obviously leads us in that category, but she's done a tremendous job. I mean, I think the rule change in women's basketball has really helped us. For those that are not familiar, they took away the charge circle that the men are still using. And now for women's basketball, as long as you're not under the hoop, you can get a charge. And I think it's a really good rule, and it has helped Leash get in position. I think she's also played the scout really well. You know, we've had a couple games where we've played guards that we said, hey, these guards leave their feet. They don't go off 2. They're out of control. We need to come in and take charges. And she's been able to do that at a very high level and be able to change momentum for us.
Coach, 3 days, 3 games. How did that test your depth, and how did you feel about that depth after those 3 days?
I felt great about it. I mean, I thought obviously the best that we played was against George Washington, and we played a lot of our bench, a lot of minutes going into the 3rd game. Certainly it helps to be able to do that, but I also felt like, you know, we needed to give some kids some opportunity. Nia Young's the first one that sticks out. She didn't play a whole lot in the West Virginia game, and I knew she was fresh. I wanted to give her an opportunity early, and she played really well. It didn't show up in the stats, but her defensive presence was outstanding. She probably led our team in getting Tracy touches in the post. And she's just one example. Alicia Wade played outstanding in the West Virginia game. And so I think, you know, a lot of our depth is showing. We have to get to the point where we're all playing at a high level at the same time, right? And that's, a lot of teams talk about that. Like, you get these couple kids playing good in this game, and then the next game it's these couple, and then the next game it's these. We need to get to a point where we're all kind of clicking on this on one cylinder. And when we do that, I think we'll be a pretty good team.
Coach, you're playing 3 Power 5 teams. Talk a little bit about what the differences in those teams are, maybe from what American teams are, and how that's benefiting you.
Yeah, I mean, when you play Power 5 teams, the biggest difference is the size and athletic ability, right? If, you know, you're a player that's, you know, 6'3", 6'4", and athletic, you're going to be recruited by all the best programs in the country. And so they have the luxury most of the time to get, you know, just players that are bigger and more athletic. And then that just changes the game, obviously. You know, the spacing on the floor is different. The ability, you know, that teams like that have to close gaps are really fast. I mean, West Virginia is an example. You know, that's a really tough game to play without practice because they're going to press probably 50% of the game. And now you're going against just more athletic players that close those gaps. A lot of our turnovers happened on, you know, we see somebody open, but they close those gaps so much faster. And we didn't have time to prepare for it. So that's the biggest thing. But you also hope that, you know, as you play those teams, you get better from it. And then when you play teams, you know, the rest of the non-conference or in the American that maybe aren't quite as athletic or quite as big, it feels a little bit easier. Right? It's no different than when we use our practice guys in practice. We use guys every day because they're bigger and they're more athletic. And it should be hard against them. But then when we play tomorrow, it should feel a little bit easier. So that's the goal in all of that.
Deja, they've played you very physical all season long. How do you deal with that?
I just try to keep a level head. And if I know that they're going to play me hard, I just try to take it back at them. I don't like when people try to play me hard. Of course, it gets annoying, but I try not to let it run my game. I try to do everything that I can to help my teammates. If I can't get open, try to set as many screens as I can, or just try to stay out the way, let the post do their job. Just do whatever I can to help my teammates get the win. I try not to let it get to me that much.
It's hard, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is hard, but it fuels me. Like, it gets me going. It shows respect. Like, a lot of teams respect me, so now they're going to just do whatever they can to try to knock me off my game, but I try not to let them do that and just help my team win.
Deja, just kind of talk about from a player's perspective, kind of recapping the Puerto Rico trip. Obviously, 3 games in 3 days. Kind of talk about how you guys grew both on and off the court, because obviously, you know, 3 games in 3 days can be a lot, but also a lot of downtime, you know, between those games. Kind of talk about how do you think the team chemistry grew in that time?
I can start off the court first. I think we had a lot of time just to be with each other. So getting to know each other just off the court, who we are as individuals, and just doing different things, trying new foods and things like that. So you get to see your teammates taste a little bit, just little things like that. They're going to stores like, oh, you like that? Oh, okay. But just, you know, seeing your teammates in a whole different point of view. But on the court, it taught us how to stay together. Like Coach said, we had a couple rough games, but we knew if we stayed together, we were going to eventually get that win that we got at the end. But it just taught us to stay together, to believe in ourselves, and just keep pushing.
Last night on the coach's radio show, Coach kind of talked about your experience playing 3-on-3 during the summertime and kind of the adjustments you made from that and going into the season. And one thing she kind of mentioned was that the 3v3 is very fast-paced, and it kind of helped you move on to the next play. Can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, as coach and I've mentioned before, 3v3 was very fast. 12-second shot clock. You have to have a short-term memory. So I just think it has helped me adjust to the game, to the 5v5 and the fast pace. It helps me move fast, but not in a hurry, as coach would say. And just getting the next play. I have had trouble just getting to that next play, but now that we're in the position that we're in, it's all next play. I can't dwell on things. If I have a good game, bad game, I just got to keep going and uplift my team because my team is going to need me in those low moments or high moments. So just trying to stay high at all times and push my team as much as we can.
Got one question for Bobby. Coach, how much improvement have you seen from Tracy Houston?
Yeah, I mean, I said that coming out of the summer that I thought she was our most improved player from the summer, and I feel the same way right now. And I think I said this is even with her missing all of October. She had minor knee surgery at the end of September. She missed almost all of October for us. You know, she was activated in our second scrimmage. And so for her to have, what she did all summer, to be, on the injury list again and then come back and play at the level that she's playing, I think she's tremendous. And she's going to continue to get better. And I think a lot of that is, some of that is obviously her. She's going to continue to get better. But we have to keep growing and learning how to play with her and being able to give her the ball and get her the ball at the right spot because we didn't get a lot of practice with her. Right? Like in the summer, it's a little bit different. You're doing a lot of skill development, playing a lot of 3-on-3, things of that nature, right? When you get into October, you're really repping offense. And so she's doing, I think everything she's doing without still having that time. And so I think, as we go on day by day, week by week, she's just going to continue to get better. And I think the biggest thing with Tracy is she has learned to slow down. Last year she would get the ball and it was like, everything was on fire. Like she just tried to score as fast as she could. Where this year she has really taken her time. She's feeling the defense. She knows where it is. She's been able to master the double pivot so that she can get on balance. And then she's, skilled and athletic enough that she can go into a reverse layup. She can face. She has a variety of other counter moves, which I think just make her really difficult to guard.
And Deja, I have to think playing off of Tracy's taking some heat off of you, right?
Oh, of course. I love playing with Tracy. She's just dominant down there. Anytime that I'm able to get her the ball, I know that's my first option before I look to score. Because when she gets down there one-on-one, nobody can guard her.
Coach, you touched on this when we were talking about the 3 games in 3 days and how you had to, get an idea for your bench. But even in the preseason, you talked about you had multiple people who could start, not just the 5, and you were going to feel that out early in the season. Now coming out of that tournament, how do you feel about your rotation?
Still figuring it out. And I still stand by what I said. I do think we have multiple starters on this team, and we've had a couple different starting lineups this year because of that. And we may continue to have some different starting lineups. I don't know. But yeah, I still think we're still figuring out. I have been very intentional about playing my bench more. If you look at the history of the way that I coach, I typically play 8 a lot of minutes. And if you look at our stat sheet now, a lot of kids are under 30 minutes, a lot of kids at 10, 11, 12, because we're still trying to figure out the best combinations and the chemistry between players. And, depending on what people are doing against us, there might be a player that's better on the court. Against pressure, we want Amani Smith in there versus, maybe somebody else. So it's just we're still figuring that out and going through that process. But I think that's what the non-conference is for.
When you've been stagnant or weren't as efficient offensively, noticed sometimes that's when you've gone to your zone trap, zone press, created turnovers, and then all of a sudden the offense picked up. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really good for us. I mean, we used it down in Puerto Rico a little bit. It's hard, that many games in a row because the type of energy you have to play with that type of defense is very high level. But even, down in Puerto Rico, it got us 3 or 4 quick turnovers. And so you're right. Like I felt like it's been great for us to get extra possessions. Defense is not an issue for us right now. Offensively, we have to continue to grow. And when we're struggling to get something easy, my thought process is, okay, let's go to that and try to get some deflections, some turnovers. And I think we've done that really well.
And last question, going into this game, what are the challenges you've seen so far in your scout of Mercer that they pose?
Well, one, we have to come with the intensity that's required to win. Their record isn't great, but they've been without their best player for the majority of their games. And as we grow as a team, we have to understand that we need to bring it, regardless of team, situation, whatever it might be. So I think just the consistency of our intensity over 40 minutes is going to be really important. They're a team that likes to get the ball in the paint. They have post players that I think are really good on film. And when they can't get it to them, they have some players that can really get downhill and drive. So we have to be able to protect the paint. Rebounding is going to be a huge key. I think they're averaging 16 boards, which is really, really good. And we haven't been consistent rebounding. So I hope that we can take, some growth there because that also helps us get out in transition. Because we need more possessions. Right now, we're turning the ball over at too high of a rate. And because of that, we're not getting enough shot attempts. We need to be able to get more possessions, and that starts with, our defense and rebounding.
Coach, got to ask you one more. Tracy shoots the 3. What's going through your mind?
She better make it.
Oh my God.
Tracy, she has a really great 15-foot jumper, and that is one of her kill shots. So that's a shot when she's open we want her to take. Her 3 is something that she's working on. I think she would like to take more than I would like her to take. But, overall, I mean, she's done a good job. I don't have the stat sheet in front of me, but she's only taken a few. And, we want to give her that leash to take a few. Sometimes it's the timing of when, you take the few. But, she knocked that one down that you're talking about. Yeah, we'll take it.
And I passed it to her.
You got an assist. There you go.
Final question for both of you. We can start with Deja. Tomorrow, home game after 3 games in Puerto Rico. After tomorrow, 3 more away games. The next home game is until December 21st.
Wow.
So kind of just talk about the importance of getting a win tomorrow before hitting the road again.
It's very important to win at home. We don't lose at home. That's something that we live by. So we're just excited to play at home, and then we're going to go on the road and do the exact same thing. The goal is to win no matter where we're at. So that's the mindset that we're going in with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also important not to look ahead. The only thing in front of us is Mercer tomorrow, and that's where our focus needs to be on how we can defend them, how we can play them, and also how we can grow and get better as Charlotte. That's the most important thing. And I know that's your job to look down the road, but that's not ours. Tomorrow we're going to show up and we're going to do everything we can to perform at the highest level. We're going to grow on the offensive end. We're going to be solid defensively. And we're going to protect our home court because, again, as Deja said, we take a lot of pride in that, and we want to win in front of Niner Nation.